is great content, I'm not gonna lie. Right here though.
What's up guys, welcome to Found Flicks. In anticipation of the latest chapter in the Insidious franchise, The Last Key, on this Everything Explained, we will be looking back at the original Insidious trilogy. Not just explaining the endings, but the overall series story over the 3 films, investigating its mythology like the spirit dimension known as the Further, and breaking down the various ghosts and demons that appear over the films. So if you need a refresher before the new entry, or still have questions from the first 3, this video will provide a comprehensive guide to everything you need to know on the series in one video. Even though the films chronologically go 3, 1, and then 2, it makes more sense to start with the first Insidious, as that's where many of the series' important elements are first established. So let's get started meeting the Lambert family, who features in the first 2 films. The Lambert family, led by Josh and Renee, along with their 3 children, start off with a peaceful, happy existence. But that all changes when their son Dalton falls into a mysterious coma that no one, even the doctor, understands, as he appears to be completely healthy but simply cannot wake up. This is because Dalton is in no ordinary coma, and there is a demonic spirit attached to the boy that has caused his unresponsive state. The reason this happened is due to Dalton having a—
Hold on, bro. To talk about Insidious in the way, like, nigga, like, they really executed, bro. Like, they executed. They was The Conjuring before niggas knew about what The Conjuring actually was.
a very special mental ability.
Insidious 1 came out, and then they dropped The Conjuring movie not too long after that. But I'm sorry, bro. Nigga, not everybody in the world really knew what The Conjuring was until The Conjuring movie came out. So when they seen Insidious, that was The Conjuring to everybody. I swear to God. I swear to God. I was terrified. My mama fell asleep on me while I was watching that bitch. Yeah, I was the youngest motherfucker when that motherfucker came out. No cap.
Astral projection, which is the idea of being able to separate your physical body from your spiritual one, also known as having an out-of-body experience. Whenever he goes to sleep, Dalton is able to harness this ability, becoming free of his physical body while dreaming. But the place that his spiritual body goes to when projecting is actually a dark—
Y'all remember the boom, boom, boom.
plane full of spirits called the Further, a place all around us that we cannot see and without time as we know it, which we see explored in part 2. Similar conceptually to purgatory, it is said that everybody passes through this dimension after they die on the way to the afterlife. But the Further is full of many malevolent spirits who do not want to move on. These spirits have a few different desires, but the main drive for many seems to be that they are hoping to regain life, and do this by possessing a living person, taking over their physical body. There are many dark spirits there that crave life, and every time a person visits the dimension, all of the spirits can hear and even smell the living. This draws the spirits to them in an attempt to take over their body. And that's what's happened to Dalton. By unknowingly visiting the Further while sleeping, his spiritual body has been discovered and later captured in that dimension by an evil demon, the Red Devil, or lipstick-faced demon, who wants Dalton specifically for his powerful projection abilities. But he only has half of Dalton's soul.
That nigga was in his room with Tiny Tim blaring. Nigga, nah, I don't think y'all get it. My nigga was in his room with this blaring right here, bro. Hold on. He was in his room, bro. Nah, bro, I don't think y'all get it, bro. I don't think y'all get it, bro. This nigga fucked me up, cause just because he was doing this shit right here, this nigga, hold on, my nigga, hold on. Is this the full thing? I need the full thing. Hold on. My nigga was in his room, right? I would grab a mask, but hold on, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna grab a mask so y'all niggas really get it, like really get it, though. Nigga in his room like this. Hold on, gotta start the music. My nigga in his room. My nigga in his room like this, y'all. nigga in there like this.
Oh, tiptoe from the garden of the willow tree, and tiptoe through the tulips with me.
Y'all get the point, though. Y'all get the point, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah.
And still needs his physical body to fully take him over. And even though very powerful, he cannot simply walk into Dalton's body. But the longer Dalton is separated from his spiritual body, it becomes easier to possess his physical one. Of course, the Lambert family have no idea about any of this initially, believing the house itself to be haunted. And it's not until they reach out to paranormal investigator Elise and her team of Specs and Tucker that they begin to understand what is going on with their son. Elise too has the ability to astral project, or at least contact the further, and sets up a seance wearing a strange gas mask-like contraption, and taps into the dimension to reach out to hopefully find Dalton. She is able to find him and now understand where he is trapped. But the Red Devil is getting closer to taking over Dalton's body, seen suddenly out of bed, flinging chairs around the room and attacking Specs. With time running out for Dalton, Elise is forced to dredge up a haunting from her past. It turns out that just like Dalton, Josh has the same powerful astral ability as his son, and he too had an incident with a spirit as a child that also wanted to take over his body. What looks like an old woman in a black dress appeared behind him in photographs, getting closer and closer to young Josh. In order to help him, Josh's mom reached out to Elise way back.
This shit terrified me more than the devil, though. Y'all, I don't think y'all get it, bro. Before there was Insidious, I know I'm pausing a lot, bro, but before there was Insidious, there was this. And seeing Josh Demon, I was like, nah, y'all shouldn't be fucking with that man. My mind kept up. And bro, I ain't even got the chance to put a female on, cause you know, me knowing these scary ass movies, not a lot of people have seen these shits for real. This shit different. On my soul, on my life, niggas, different. If you know, nigga, like The Conjuring, The Nun, Insidious, before that shit even came out, nigga. I swear to God. Hey, before it even happened, nigga, I swear to God, nigga. I'm telling you, bro, like, straight terrified. And they be saying, like, these scary movies and shit is a gateway to, I ain't even about to go into that. I ain't even about to do all that. Yep. But y'all get it. Y'all get it, though. Y'all know the deal. I ain't gonna lie, I wanna watch it again. When I tell you, certain horror movies just hit different, bro. One of the beginning scenes, I think it's this one actually. I think it's this one right here. It could have been two, bro. The beginning scene, is this it right here? Yeah, Tea Party. Oh my God, bro. We got to. I can't. Bro, what? If you ain't seen this, you's wasting time, bro. Watch this, bro. And it's sad, bro. Alright, bro. I think I got to thinking about it, bro, and this is kind of crazy to be showing right now. But y'all get the point, bro. This the opening scene to the movie, bro. This the opening scene. Yeah, we gotta go.
New alert marked on navigation, Tenno.
That's the opening scene to, bro, these horror movies back in like, okay, look, 7 years ago. Damn. And this is just like summing up all three. But bro, you see, That Woman in Black came out 2012. Insidious. If I can spell. There you go. It's a 2010 supernatural film. Insidious did it first. Oh no. Hold on. 2013. Oh my God. Oh shit. And that's when everybody's eyes started opening up. They were like, oh shit. The Conjuring is real? It's real? Yes, nigga. Yes, nigga, it's real, nigga. It's really real. It's really real. Hey, but back to the video, goddamn.
In 1986, and she wasn't able to defeat the demon that wanted Josh, but she was able to suppress his memories as well as his ability, which was enough to keep him safe all of these years. But with Dalton trapped in the Further, he will have to reopen these old memories and travel to the Further to save his son. Here we see how Elise sends travelers there by hypnotizing them into a trance, using the steady beat of a metronome. Josh then opens his eyes and we see he has left his physical body, now in the spirit plane. He ventures deeper into the Further, coming across his previous house, learning of the story behind the ghost randomly seen throughout the movie there. A young daughter murdered her entire family, blowing them away with a demented look of glee on her face. Then they all appear.
Boo! Boo! Boo!
Here to Josh, chasing after him, sending him upstairs to the attic and an
funny,
ominous red door leading to the Red Devil's lair. But before he can enter, he is attacked by another spirit defending the door, the aptly named Long-Haired Fiend. And it seems that he is working for, or at least in legion with, the Red Devil, who from what we see is kind of the boss of all the malevolent spirits of the Further. Elise tells John that as he is still alive, he is more powerful than the dead, and he deals a mighty punch, launching the fiend away, leaving him to finally enter the red door, then the main den of the Red Devil, finding his son chained under his watch. We don't really get any backstory to the Red Devil, but I guess that he at one time was human as well, like all of the spirits here. We see him surrounded by all these marionettes in his little office, implying that this has something to do with his former life. And perhaps it's by being in the Further so long that he has become more demonic in appearance over time.
Man, what if that's I gotta see the Tiny Tim story. I don't know. But hey, that's the moment I was talking about. Nigga was in the gate. I swear to God.
Josh gets his son free, but the Red Devil spots them. But Josh is able to get his son running away. He's found his son, but the others can't wake him up. According to Elise, he has to find his own way back to our world. Following Renee's voice, the two are suddenly in an infinite black void, surrounded by ghosts from all angles. It appears they are crossing.
Bro, as a kid, bro, imagine going through that shit, bro. No, sir, bro. Traumatized for the rest of my life. No.
over to our world, and all the ghosts
Look
then
at
bust
that
out of the
shit.
closet while Josh is trying to get inside. The two get separated, and the Red Devil reappears pursuing Dalton, while Josh comes face to face with a
Bro, it got me again. On my life, it got me again, bro. Hands up in the air, no sir. No sir. I praise the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ has no time for whatever. I rebuke it in the name of Jesus. On God, I rebuke it. I mean, I shouldn't even be saying that. I'm sorry, God. Bro.
reflection in a mirror, the Black Bride. The same
There go woman in black, y'all. She done spent the bins twice on the ass.
spirit that attempted to possess him as a child. He tries to confront her, screaming to get the hell out of here, but she only laughs in response to this.
My nigga played, bro. She laughing. She said, "You triggered my track card. Just watch."
Renee again calls out to Josh to come back, and he is pulled away, brought back into our world along with Dalton, who also reunites with his physical body. Everything seems to have worked out with the family warmly brought back together and their son's life saved. But a bit later, Elise and Josh are alone, with Josh returning the childhood pictures to her, saying he doesn't need them anymore, and when he hands them to her, something catches her off guard for a moment. She then takes a picture of Josh, who gets extremely angry, demanding to know why she would do that, pushing Elise into a chair and strangling her to death. It looks like it wasn't Josh that came back, but in that moment with the Black Bride, she is the one who returned from the further in Josh's body. And it's with this new possession that sets up where the story goes next in Insidious Chapter 2, making the Black Bride the new primary antagonist and revealing her, well actually his quite twisted backstory as well. The opening
That shit's so fucking sad, bro. Oh God.
of Chapter 2 takes us chronologically to the earliest time seen in the entire series, witnessing the initial encounter Josh had with the bride as a child back in 1986. Carl, an associate of Elise's, calls her in to help with the case when things are getting too scary even for him.
Also, y'all, we gotta watch something about the Lost Key, because the Lost Key is heat.
And showing Elise the same photo seen in Chapter 1 of the bride stalking ever closer to Josh. She then puts young Josh into the same hypnotic trance she did with his older self to try to understand what the spirit is that's after him. They learn it is still in the house, and after playing hot and cold to find it, Elise pinpoints its location, asking what it wants. And something slashes Elise's arm, making it clear to her that it's not a friend at all. And she says it wants Josh for his ability to astral project, as he's seen things no other living person has until now. Only now one of the dead has seen him too, and will stop at nothing to get him. So it seems that Josh is the first living person in the series to ever go to the further. Unable to defeat the spirit, Elise suppresses Josh's memory to take away his gift, and Josh stands saying he knows how, pointing to a door that opens by itself. But Josh is actually talking to someone else here, as we see later. We then return to the series' present day story, picking up with Josh possessed by the Black Bride that has been hunting him all these years. No one is aware that Josh isn't himself, but Renee does suspect that something is going on, thinking he may have killed Elise, which of course he denies. And after forensics compares the marks found on Elise's neck to Josh's hands, they are not a match, because his hands are in fact those of the Black Bride and not his. After saving Dalton, the family goes to stay with Josh's mother, Lorraine, and unfortunately the Lamberts' hauntings are far from over. Renee is still on edge after everything that just happened, and then more signs of paranormal activity.
Number 2 was the most terrifying, but most funniest, terrifying horror film I ever seen in my life. It has permanently burned a memory into my head forever. To the point where anytime a female does some crazy ish, I think in my head of this one moment. It was fitting. Hey, I'm sorry, bro, but that "don't you dare!" Hey, bro, if you know, you know, bro. That "don't you dare!" Bro, nah, bro. I ain't never seen a backhand slump up, bro. Nah. No. If a ghost backhand me and slump me, I'm changing my life around. And I'm leaving everybody in my past life there. Fuck that. The hell you got going on, bro? I got knocked out by a backhand. The motherfucker said, don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Activities soon start, with a female ghost appearing singing "Row Your Boat" and later yelling,
Right there. This moment, don't you.
"Don't you dare," and slapping her. This ghost is tied into the story.
Hey, I need this as an emo. And we gonna have that blitz as an emo on God. Don't you dare.
Of the Black Bride's past, which becomes important to understanding how to destroy it. So the family reach out to Elise's old associate Carl, seen in the intro scene, for help, needing answers to questions that only Elise can answer, hoping to contact her from the beyond. He uses dice to communicate with spirits, spelling out messages when he rolls, leading them to our...
When he rolled that bitch and that bitch said knife, I thought it was over with. On me, bro. That motherfucker said knife.
Lady of the Angels, a hospital that Lorraine used to work at. They head there in hope of finding some answers, as Elise had to have sent them there for a reason. Once there, they come to a room that Carl is drawn to, asking what was originally here.
Bro, this shit basically paved the way for many horror games. This moment right here, when they went inside this hospital, bro, and what they fucking found, it paved the way for so many horror games. I don't even think y'all get it, bro, because I see this shit so many different times replicated, bro.
Lorraine remembers that
it probably happened before this.
It was the ICU, and has a flashback of her in the 80s with Josh as a kid when she worked at the hospital. The two go to visit an older man who looks frail and weak, but suddenly springs awake, attacking Josh and going totally nuts. Something seems to have triggered him about Josh. Lorraine remembers seeing the man once more at the hospital a few days later. He doesn't respond to her when she tries to talk to him, and then when asking a nurse about it, she reveals that the patient, Parker Crane, died yesterday morning, having jumped to his death, and learning that he was initially brought to the hospital after a botched attempt to castrate himself. Yikes! So yes, Parker Crane, a male patient who encountered Josh while still alive at the hospital, later died and became the spirit known as the Black Bride. And when they head to Parker's childhood home, they learn the story behind this. When Parker was a child, he was abused by his mother.
That shit is so fucking crazy. Like, I know the story, but like really just like really, I don't know, bro. Really it's just like taking this shit and hearing it again, all put together, and just like really thinking about this nigga Parker Crane was being forced to be a bitch. So after his mama died, the nigga started killing bitches. Died, became a demon. And hold up, before he died, he was in the hospital bed, seen a boy named Josh and got hooked onto his ass. Died, became a demon, and was still hooked on this nigga. Bro, somebody get this shit another reward, nigga. Like, bro, what?
Who wanted him to be a girl, going so far as dressing him in dresses and making him wear a blonde wig, and
Y'all thought I was lying? This the emo bitches y'all be wanting. Y'all better leave them alone, bro. On lie. Bro, look what she doing to her child, bro. And I know some down bad niggas that would still say this woman is bad. Cause she look emo. No. This a damn demon.
Demanding that his name is actually Marilyn and not Parker. When he tries to say his real name, she flips, slapping him.
God damn. Give me that emote now. I need it, bro. I need it, bro. I need that emote, bro. What the fuck? Don't you dare is... Yeah. Don't you dare.
Tying back to the same moment witnessed by Renee earlier at the house. Later, as an adult, Parker began to kill for his mother because she forced him to. And he donned a black dress and veil to commit the...
Oh, I fucked up. He started to kill because his mama forced him to. I was thinking in my head that she died and this nigga just had hatred for the female race, so he was killing bitches. But my fault, y'all. My fault. It's been a minute. I ain't watched this shit since I was with my ex type shit. And that's, I was like 17.
The murders, becoming known in the papers as the Bride in Black. And the others uncover where he hid all these...
This is what I'm talking about right here. When I say I seen this shit replicated in so many horror games that it don't make no sense. This damn movie paved the way for so many games, bro. This scene's so creepy too, bro. Like, this a scene that'll make you be like, no sir. And this is why you don't, I'm telling you, you don't see one black person in this movie, bro. Hell no. You got me fucked up. What, bro? Nigga, I wouldn't even made it this far in the hospital. Shit. The shit was going crazy haywire since they chopped.
These bodies in a hidden room behind the walls in his house.
Bro, and that's so fucking spooky, bro. There is bodies in a hidden room behind the walls in this house that nobody has ever found. Not police, not nobody. And to be exact, they never touch back on this point when they get out. They don't say they sent the police to go find these people or nothing. These people is missing to this day. Type shit. In their world, not in ours. Remember, this shit, Insidious is not real. Praise God. But like, I think Insidious takes maybe some inspiration from real life shit. I don't know. Cause like the story of this nigga here and how he was killed, I don't know, this shit could be very much real, bro. Like, I feel like there's, to this day, probably people that done murdered people and probably still got the bodies in their house or on their yard. And you would never fucking know, bro. Like, that shit's spooky.
And the reason he was drawn to Josh while alive when first meeting him is that he wanted his childhood back that had been taken from him by his mother.
What I tell you, bro, this nigga met him as a child. It was stuck all the way to when this nigga was, bro, you really gotta put that into perspective. That is truly some demonic shit, and I can't lie. Bro, I don't know what is up with motherfuckers. That is crazy.
And that's the
insane.
specific reason behind Parker targeting Josh after he killed himself and became a spirit, to possess his body in an attempt to get his childhood back. Of course, Parker wasn't...
I ain't even realize the nigga killed himself just to become a spirit and take his body. Bro, he like Yagi, bro, he like Yagi meat the fuck out of this little nigga, bro. He like Yagi meat the fuck out of Josh. All to get to this point to take his body, bro. On some Captain Ginyu, give me your body, that ass shit. Like, bro, he dead ass Death Note, mind trick near, like, bro, this nigga dead ass pulled a master plan to kill himself, become a demonic spirit, hunt this nigga all the way until he was an adult, have somebody else go after his son, then take this nigga body. Clap it up, bro. Clap it up, bro. I'm not saying praise, no, nothing like that, but bro, what? I'm saying clap up to Arthur, bro, because how do you come up with some dark ass shit like that? Something about these niggas that be making these motherfucking scary movies and shit, something about them niggas we don't know about. Because, on God, how do you depict in your mind something so fucking chronically sick?
Wasn't successful at getting Josh until now, who after being in Josh's body is behaving more and more strangely, seen having conversations with his invisible mother's spirit who tells him to kill the family. He's also beginning to suffer the effects of taking over Josh's body, starting to rapidly deteriorate. Unbeknownst to him, Carl and the others have a plan to sedate Josh, and while he's under, try to reach out to the real Josh who is still trapped in the further. They send Carl in to sedate him, but Parker has completely taken over Josh's body now and catches on to Carl's plan, attacking him with a knife. The others rush inside to help and Tucker tases him, but he ends up with the drugs in his leg. Carl, killed by Parker, finds himself in the further and joined by Josh. Josh tells Carl he's weaker the longer he's away from his body, and so the two set out into the further in search of Elise. They stop suddenly with Carl saying that someone is standing right in front of him, but Josh can't see it, and Carl tells him he's repeating over and over, "He's got your baby." He points to something, sending Josh back to his old...
This shit here is crazy too. He's got your baby. 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 That nigga was tripping.
House, and back to the same time as the events of the first film. As I mentioned, the further doesn't have time like our own dimension. This scene is quite interesting, showing us new layers to what happened in the first film, kind of like in Back to the Future 2. For example, it was this Josh banging on the door that his former self heard, even seeing himself coming down to check out the noise. Also, right after this in the first film, the front door burst open mysteriously, and that was also this Josh now, getting into the house and confronting the long-haired fiend who is after his daughter. Josh gets wrecked, but in the nick of time, Elise appears wielding a lantern, burning him with the light and launching the fiend through the window. Nice timing, Elise. She reunites with Josh and Carl, telling them that she was on her way to the Bright Place when she came back after hearing their call. She believes the key to stopping Parker is by finding his childhood home elsewhere in the darkness of the further. Josh is familiar with this house, but since his memories have been suppressed, he is unable to remember how to get there. And Elise realizes that maybe they are asking the wrong Josh. So the three return to the moment from the opening of the movie, asking young Josh, who does know the way, standing up and pointing them in the right direction. They open the door heading through, and Elise knows the way. They return to the moment get there, and Elise realizes that maybe they are asking the wrong Josh. So the three return to the moment from the opening of the movie, asking young Josh, who does know the way, standing up and pointing them in the right direction. They open the door heading through, and Elise now connects what she didn't understand earlier about who Josh was talking to back then. It was the older Josh from now that he was talking to, connecting the events in real time that are in our world spread apart by 3 decades. While they head onward to Parker's home.
I'm trying to tell you, that shit is so fucking crazy. How does that work? Nigga. This show will fuck your mind. I mean, this movie will fuck your mind up, nigga.
Home, in our world, the possessed Josh attacks Lorraine and Renee, and after a fight where Dalton whacks his dad in the head with a bat, they hole up in the basement, Josh already starting to break his way in. Dalton says he can find Josh using his own ability, and makes his way into the further using a can on a string as a line back to our world. At Parker's house, Elise reaches out to childhood Parker to help them destroy the memories of his mother, ensuring it will set him free. His mother then appears attacking Josh, telling him little girls need to learn. Elise bashes the mom with a chair, and her
that motherfucker is insane. Attack Josh, a full-grown man, and said, little girls need to learn.
spirit along with Parker is sent away, out of Josh's body and back into the void of the further. The walls of the house begin to dissolve into darkness, and unfortunately Elise has to stay behind, now moving on to heaven, leaving Josh and Carl to find their way back. Thankfully they find Dalton, who leads them back to the real world and reunites Josh's spiritual body with his physical one. And this brings us to the end of the Lambert's family hauntings, as after all
shit about Elise though, y'all ain't think about it. And number two, she really did get her get back. She got her get back on that bitch for strangling her. I ain't gonna lie. Got her get back. Got her get back. And she needed that shit too. Top 10 get backs too.
All this, they undergo the same process Josh did as a child to have their memories and abilities repressed, thusly no longer tying themselves to the malevolent forces of the Further. But of course, they aren't the only family to be haunted by the spirits of the Further, and Elise had other cases involving the dimension before the Lamberts, which we see led to her death by the hands of the Black Bride. And we learn in Insidious 3, this was the result of her initially saving Josh from being possessed. Since this first encounter, she has wanted to kill Elise as revenge, and promises her it would do.
Bro, she been wanting to kill her since she seen Elise, and that shit is so crazy.
So, and any time that Elise would visit the Further, she would get attacked by the Bride. Which brings us to the events of Insidious 3, which takes place well after the first meeting with Josh, but a few years before they cross paths again in the first Insidious. Here, Elise is retired from her profession, becoming essentially a recluse in her house after the death of her husband Jack by suicide about a year ago. She struggled with his death and did attempt to reach him via the Further, but every time she went there, she also drew the attention of the Bride. So rather than risk it, she decided it was best not to tempt fate and didn't attempt to return there anymore. However, a young girl, Quinn, shows up at her doorstep, leading Elise back into the spiritual world. Quinn wants to contact her deceased mother, and after some
There's something we need to talk about. They're telling us about 3 right now. He did not touch on the ending of 2. Or maybe it could have been the ending of 3. I think it's the ending of 2. Where they show us a family that needs help with a person that's in a wheelchair. But to this day, we still ain't got, like, no explanation on it.
initial reluctance, Elise agrees to help her, trying to make contact. As she's doing though, she says she can hear someone, but nervously says that it isn't her mother. And Elise breaks her concentration, telling Quinn she will have to find someone else to help her, and advises her to not try to contact her mom anymore on her own, warning her that if you do call out to the dead, all of them can hear you. Quinn doesn't heed this advice, trying to contact her mom again later, and a spirit does start making his presence known. But it's not her mother as she initially believes. After blowing a theater school audition, Quinn sees a person standing in the street, and this distracts her enough for a car to come out of nowhere, plowing right into her. Later, when at the hospital, she sees this person again, as she hovers between life and death, finding herself temporarily in the Further, coming face to face with a man in an oxygen mask who appears, freaking Quinn out. Called the Man Who Can't Breathe, this is the spirit that Quinn has unknowingly gotten attached to her by reaching out to the spirit plane. But unlike the previous entities who wanted life from the living, the wheezing demon only wants death, attempting to possess others to kill themselves and join him in the darkness of the Further as his pets. He is the spirit of someone who lived in the apartment building for many years in the apartment right above Quinn and her dad, 514, until most likely committing suicide. After the demon also visits Elise at her house, she eventually agrees to do a seance to find the man, heading into the Further version of Quinn's apartment complex. Similar to the other entities, the wheezing demon seems to control this area of the plane, which is chock full of the ghosts of various victims he has led to death over time. But Elise is attacked by the Black Bride again and forced to stop the search out of fear for her life. This leads the family to Specs and Tucker, at this point working.
Bro, I'm sorry. The Black Bride gotta be put into the Black Air Force Hall of Fame. What that nigga name is? Hold on. Who be doing the anime shit? I know you do anime, my brother, man. But you gotta do this woman right here. Cause she different. She different, nigga. She don't care what it is, what the case may be. She's spinning that block on the lease each time that into the further. She don't give a fuck. She don't give no fucks, nigga. She don't give no fucks, nigga. I mean he, cause it's really a he. I'm getting finessed, bro. It's really a he. Black Air Force energy. I mean, bro, the nigga wear a black dress. Bro, and at least trying to help somebody else on a whole nother side of town, in a whole nother different part of the further. Here come this black demonic bitch. Nah, bro. Black Air Force energy. I need one. I need somebody to document the stuff that she do and done did. Cause how many times has she done stopped this motherfucker from just helping this girl?
Working on
There's
their
a
own,
time
and they
limited mission
perform
alert
various
available.
tests on
Check
Quinn and
navigation.
set up cameras to capture her every movement. But it appears that they were already too late, with the demon already possessing Quinn, who is somehow walking on two legs after her accident and gets a jump on them, beating her dad along with the others with a wrench. So she's definitely possessed now, and has been since she was at the hospital. Oh well, nice try anyway, guys. She tells her dad she wants to keep him alive to watch him suffer, attempting to slash her own throat with a box cutter. But the others overpower her, restraining her to the bed. At one point, seeing an eyeball of the demon peeking out of her throat. Ew! Quinn's dad wonders what they're supposed to do now, but the guys admit they're basically frauds and totally out of their league on this one. But luckily, Elise is back, who realizes it's been ever since their accident and their first meeting that the wheezing demon got half of her soul. The spiritual body, as we saw with Dalton. And the only way to bring her back is to go to where it lives. Meaning she has to go back into the further despite the extreme danger she is facing from the bride there. She finds her way to apartment 514, finding a man sitting on the bed, but is attacked by the bride, choking her. But Elise remembers being alive makes her stronger than the dead, and fights back, causing the bride to retreat for now.
Damn.
Elise tells the man to let Quinn go.
Hey, all she had to do is throw hands with that little black bitch. Hey, all she had to do is throw hands with that bitch. Remember that, y'all. That might be true. Being alive might make you stronger. So you better try to fight. On my life. I ain't going.
Oh, but we see it's actually Jack, her deceased husband, saying he could feel she was here and had to find her. Emotional, Elise asks how she is supposed to move on without him, and he offers her a solution. She can stay here with him forever, handing her a blade to take her own life. Obviously, it's the demon taking her husband's form and returns to his old man form, who claps, bringing in his new pet, Quinn, seen without a face and under the demon's control. Elise pushes him, grabbing Quinn, and showing he is quite a powerful entity, the wheezing demon stomps his foot, causing the whole place to rumble violently. After Elise later stomps her foot and dispatches the man into a hole, they make it back to Quinn's room and Elise wakes up. But right before Quinn got back to her body, the demon managed to grab her, keeping her in the further, and now on the verge of death. Everyone grabs hands, telling her to stay with us in this.
That nigga said, "Oh my bitch."
World, and Elise finds a letter from Quinn's mom hidden in her journal. So we see her mother had been trying to reach out to her as well and wanted Quinn to read the letter. Elise then calls out to Quinn's mother for help, who appears in the further, whispering into Quinn's ear. Hearing her voice is enough to wake Quinn up, who grabs the demon's mask, ripping it off his face, causing him to cough up dust, destroying the demon. So it looks like there is a way to kill certain demons, in this case the weakness probably being his mask. Without it, he dies. Quinn then is able to return to her body and come back to life. She thanks the others for the help, but they say
Destroy Parker Crane demon too. All they had to do is goddamn all they had to do is make him forget his mama.
they had some other help too, from her mom, who wants to speak to her. And her mom reveals that she has always been watching over Quinn, including when she did her lousy audition. saying she was so proud of her, and tells Quinn she doesn't need to look for her anymore because she will always be there. So hopefully she won't be trying to go back into the further anymore. Afterwards, Elise talks to Tucker and Specs, who admit that that was the first ghost they've seen, and she suggests that they should go into business together, leading to the team-up scene in part 1 and 2, which lasted for at least a few years. That's the end of the main story, but we do have one final cliffhanger, finding Elise back at her home later. She looks to her bed, seeing Jack's sweater laid out on top of it, and believes that this is a sign from her husband. But no such luck, as her dog starts growling and she turns, seeing the face of the long-haired fiend in the shadows staring out at her, and the red devil pops up, appearing right behind her. That's one heck of a cliffhanger, so hopefully chapter 4 will bring us some closure to this and showing us what happened next. And this shows us that before chapter 1, Elise had encountered these two before. We know the last key will take place after part 3, but still before part 1, showing us a more personal haunting for Elise, this time at her childhood home, where she has to face the interesting new demon called Keyface, which I think already looks way cooler than some of the previous villains. And with the window of time between events closing, perhaps the last key will tie us directly into the beginning of the first film, which would be a cool way to bridge the series together into one cohesive whole. But we will have to wait a bit longer until we find out for sure. And don't worry about it, folks, because of course I will be doing an ending explain on the last key as well, and any connections that it has to the original trilogy. That about wraps it up for this in-depth look at the Insidious franchise.
How long is the recording already? How long is the recording already? 46 minutes? We just gon' damn it. We just gonna go ahead and fit last key in there. We gonna fit it in there.
Howdy folks, welcome to Found Flicks and another edition of Ending Explained. This time we'll be continuing our look at the Insidious series, explaining the brand new sequel Insidious: The Last Key, which for the first time puts fan favorite character Elise at the forefront of the story. Recently I did a video covering the first 3 Insidious films, so make sure you catch up on that before watching this one to get the full story. The Last Key takes place chronologically right after the events of chapter 3, with Elise teaming up with her goofball sidekicks Tucker and Specs. But there are also several scenes set in the 1950s with a childhood Elise, where we finally learn about her backstory and her first encounters with the spirit world, which also has an impact on her current case. So let's get into The Last Key, explaining the movie's big twists, the ending, and Elise's
I remember Elise's dad being a drunk and a lot of other stuff, so like I know I've seen The Last Key, but I feel like, I don't know. This is 2018 though, y'all. Y'all. I don't even. Yeah, I remember exactly now. Yes, I have seen Last Key, but a lot happened 2018.
previously unknown backstory. The movie opens in the 1950s in Five Keys, New Mexico, where we meet Elise's family living in a house adjacent to a prison facility where her father works as the warden. Due to the number of executions performed at the prison, there are numerous spirits that haunt Elise's house. And already this early in her life, Elise can see these spirits and communicate with them. Her mother is supportive of her gifts and believes Elise when she mentions seeing these spirits, but her father is a very different story. And anytime she sees something out of the ordinary, he tries to convince her otherwise by making her face the wall and beating her with a rod. But Elise is unwavering using her gift, hoping to somehow help the spirits that she meets, such as one particular spirit which sounds like the voice of a young girl, that guides Elise down into her family's nuclear fallout shelter and to a red door with light pouring from the keyhole, revealing the further aligned with prison cells on the other side. The spirit asks Elise to open the door, saying it can bring her more light, and needs her help to open all of the doors. Not knowing any better, Elise opens the door, greeted with only darkness on the other side, Way to go, you opened the door to Deathland! Something definitely got through the open door, as Elise's eyes glaze over white and her mom gets choked to death by a wire. And the spirit she has unwittingly unleashed is the key-fingered, monstrous-looking demon called Keyface. I mean, he doesn't have keys on his face, but whatever. He mentions wanting to open all of the doors, which is kind of interesting, and we understand a bit more about what those red doors that pop up in the movies are all about. These doors act as direct gateways between the real world and the spirit world, and it seems that Keyface is attempting to open the red doors to blend the lines between our two realms. Like the other further spirits we've seen, he's got a specific desire, which is to influence or possess others, and then Keyface uses them to create more negative energy and violence, which it feeds on. Unfortunately, one of its victims is Elise's father, who after the door is opened by Elise, takes advantage of his abusive, violent nature, leading to him taking women prisoner in their fallout shelter, eventually murdering them. Of course, little Elise has...
Wait, hold on. They said he did what? Nah, bro.
which it feeds on. Unfortunately, one of its victims is Elise's father, who after the door is opened by Elise, takes advantage of his abusive, violent nature, leading to him taking women prisoner in their fallout shelter, eventually murdering them. Of course, little Elise has no idea about any of this, believing her father is simply a giant a-hole. And surprisingly, at one point when older, she actually saw one of her father's victims that had escaped the basement. She at the time believed she was seeing a spirit, which wouldn't be out of the ordinary for her, but the woman was actually alive at the time. She, along with her brother Christian, continued to suffer their father's abuse for years, until at the age of 16, Elise couldn't take it anymore and left her home, and never returned there again. But she is about to be drawn back there by a new case, and will have to confront all of her past, and along the way learn the truth about her father, and also attempt to reconcile with her estranged brother. Elise receives a call from...
Bro, I did not realize it was that deep. That's some deep shit right there, bro. She gotta go through the whole thing of finding out her daddy a murderer. Not just an abuser, but he a murderer. Then has to fight the demon she been fighting since she was younger. Boy, here we go.
From Ted Garza, who has recently moved into her childhood home, and strange supernatural things have started occurring there. So Elise, along with Tucker and Specs, head back to Five Keys to help Ted. But just as her father had been, Ted is also under the influence of Keyface, who is most likely the one actually luring her there in the first place, since it has unfinished business with her. When they arrive at her home, all of the original furniture and belongings from her past are still there, with Ted saying he bought the house as it was. So it seems that literally no one has lived in the house for the past several decades since Elise's family was there. And that's why all of this is happening now with Ted moving in. Keyface finally has someone it can use again to do its bidding, and was unable to do this with the house empty. And during an initial investigation, a spirit begins to reach out to Elise, the spirit of the woman she saw as a child at her house, wanting to show her what Garza is hiding. But they haven't quite figured that out yet. The next day, they head into Elise's hometown, where Elise comes across two girls that she thinks looks very familiar. It turns out these are her brother's daughters, who then shows up, having not seen his sister in years, but is unwilling to talk to Elise, still upset for abandoning him with their father so many years ago. His daughters Melissa and Imogene stick around to talk to her, and Elise hopes she has found something that will help the situation with her brother, giving them a picture showing she found a long-lost whistle that belonged to Christian as a child, which was given to him by his mom, who told him that whenever he was afraid to blow the whistle and she would be there. Later, Elise returns to the house, and the same spirit guides them to a woman Garza has captured in the fallout shelter, revealing to them Garza is clearly not himself, who turns on Elise and the others, locking them in the room. And surprisingly, Specs saves the day, pushing a bookcase onto Garza, crushing his head. In the aftermath, while Elise is being interviewed by the police, Christian and his kids go to the empty house to look for his precious whistle. During the search, Melissa is lured into the basement, having an encounter with Keyface, who enters one key into her throat, causing her to be unable to scream. scream, and then uses another finger jamming it into her chest, bringing her spiritual body back with him into the further, leaving her physical one comatose, as seen previously with other victims Dalton and Quinn. There's a limited amount of time you can be separated from your physical body, and now Elise will have to enter the further to save Melissa. And her sister Imogene also wants to help stop the spirit, revealing that she too has abilities like Elise, describing her own experiences with astral projection. Well, yeah, that'll probably come in handy. That night, Elise searches the basement of the house, uncovering several suitcases in the walls, each with a skull and personal belongings of different women that have been captured and killed by her father. Upon seeing these, Elise then remembers the woman she had seen as a child and that she was her father's prisoner. And now she finally understands what made her father into the monster that he was, concluding Keyface had been possessing the men that lived in the house to imprison and kill girls for it. And speak of the devil, as after she searches through about 50 suitcases, Keyface pops out of one, taking Elise to the further as its prisoner. Well, now what are you gonna do? No one else has the ability thing. Oh right, the girl we just met 5 minutes ago that also has astral projection abilities. So now it's up to our new girl Imogene to save the day, who is hypnotized by Tucker and Specs and heads into the spirit plane to rescue her aunt and sister. In the further version of the prison, Keyface presents Elise's father to her, who upon seeing she gets so angry that she brutally beats him with a rod just like he used to. But as Imogene arrives, she sees that the monster is feeding off of the negative energy and stops. Keyface attacks them, and interestingly, the spirit of Elise's father actually tries to help them out here, fighting back, only to get killed by Keyface. But what happens to his spirit when it's killed? I guess all we can assume is that he is gone for good. But at least in his final moments, he was free of Keyface's possession and at least tried to do something right before he died. Keyface is able to overpower both of them, pulling out his key about to kill Elise. But Imogene happens to find her dad's whistle, tossing it to Elise, who blows on it, summoning the spirit of her mother, who appears and banishes Keyface to the darkness. As they make their way back through the further, they encounter several red doors, other doorways from this dimension to our own, including one which she opens, revealing Dalton during the first Insidious film when he heard something nearby in the attic. Literally the first encounter he had with the spirit world. And it turns out that it was Elise. As was established in chapter 2, the further doesn't have time as we know it, and it's possible to travel to these different time periods in our world via these various doors. Elise and her nieces wake up in the real world, and her brother is there too. They finally reconnect now that he understands all about his sister's gifts, and that they are indeed true and not make-believe. Back in her house in Los Angeles, Elise has a dream about Dalton, who she saw in the further, and is scared awake when the Red Devil appears in the boy's window. She then gets a call from Lorraine Lambert, who says that Elise helped her son many years ago and needs her help once again, this time with her grandson. And Elise already understands she is needed after her dream about Dalton, telling Lorraine she will be on her way in the morning. This leads us directly into the events of Insidious chapter 1 and 2, involving the Lambert family, who finds their son is being hunted by the Red Devil, eventually leading to Elise's death at the hands of the Black Bride in Josh's body. Since Elise is heading to the Lamberts the very next day, there is no more unaccounted for time left between movies, and this does bring us full circle back to the beginning of the first film, with the interesting new addition of her having seen Dalton and dreamed of him being haunted before they even met. It's just too bad that this information doesn't help her, not die. But at least we finally know Elise's backstory, giving us a deeper understanding to the character that has become the soul of the Insidious series. And guess what? There is no conclusion to the cliffhanger from part 3, where Elise was visited by the long-haired fiend and Red Devil. Not that I'm really surprised, as at this point they have only actually followed through on the cliffhanger from the first film and none of the others. And perhaps that's why Last Key has no cliffhanger or post-credit scene or anything like that. This is to show us the conclusion of the Last Key, brings us to the end point of Elise's journey as seen over the course of the 4 films. But I have a feeling if this one makes enough money, they'll figure out a way to keep the series going. Honestly, I think they need to bring Elise back to life, which could be done with the universe's rules as established, via the red doors seen in the further. Tucker and Specs could enlist Imogene to transport to the point of time of Elise's murder and prevent it from ever happening. Boom, Elise is alive. I know it's cheesy, but it would work and allow the series to continue forward after Insidious 2. Just bring her back to life already, guys. And if you're wondering about all those deleted scenes in the trailer, the director says all those will be included on the DVD. That'll do it for my ending explain on Insidious: The Last Key. Over Overall, it's a worthy addition to the series, but still doesn't come to the same heights as the original 2 films. What did you guys think of The Last Key? Where do you rank it in the series? And what did you think of
Shit, where's already at, man? Red Door. I missed something? Oh, nah, I gotta go watch a movie now, y'all. Oh, shit, goddamn chat. I hope y'all enjoyed this bitch. Hope y'all enjoyed this bitch. I gotta watch a movie, chat. It's a movie. Nah, like dead ass, bro. I didn't even know. I swear to God, I didn't. Red Door? Yeah, nigga, we in this bitch.